Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the second premier webinar of HSL. The subject for today is Who's Moving the Retail Flywheel? Now, in this time of the pandemic, where several countries have seen months of lockdown, the retail sector has been throwing various signs which are confusing to a to an investor. Today with us to discuss this critical subject is Jai Gandhi, who has been tracking the sector for about 8 years and is with HSL for the past 3 years. Hi Jai, welcome.
Hi Payal, hi.
So Jai, over the last few years, we have seen retail sector has been showing very confusing signs, and more so right now. So if you see a few, major favorite stocks of the investors, like for example, Avenue Supermart, which was listed about 2 years ago, has given about 4 times return in since listing. And
Right.
on the contrary, future retail has really eroded a lot of wealth in the last few years, if you say
Right.
maybe 85% from the top. And
Right.
some of the favorites like TCNS has more than halved, so it's throwing a lot of confusing signs in the sense that what should an investor really understand from this? Is this sector going to be so volatile? Is it going to survive through the kind of challenges that it has been facing recently? How should we understand this, Jay?
Yeah, so it's fairly simple. So we remain cautiously optimistic on the sector. It's quite a big sector, and the opportunity for organized penetration remains extremely high. The difference in models is something which is absolutely paramount to understand. Uh, uh, Effectively, what I'm trying to say is, what is the cost of retailing? What is the cost structure? Accordingly, we will figure a way out to identify who wins, who doesn't. For example, in the case of Avenue and Future Retail, you try to make a comparison on that. So Future Retail has never really understood what they stand for, in a manner of speaking. They've never been a discounter. There was a point in time when they changed the focus on the formats they want to expand, for example, from large to small, back to large. And effectively, they were not very sure if they want to push private labels, or is it about largely selling stuff which the consumers want. If you juxtapose this with DMart, right, the reason why DMart is a favorite amongst investors is because it knows exactly what it stands for. It is a hardline discounter. It is one of the lowest cost retailers that we have, extremely disciplined, and even during tough times, the ability to maneuver uh, is likely to be higher in the case of DMart versus competition. So I get why people like DMart so much. And the problem with DMart is it's an extremely expensive stock. Uh, it's almost like people are playing on price to hope multiple,
Hmm.
and that is something. So we need to be a little cautious about valuations also, right? So if DMart corrects a reasonable amount from these levels, by all means, investors could get a good compounding story for a long time. So yeah.
But Jay, with the latest results where we have seen, say, for example, plus 80% decline in the EBITDA and PAT, how do you see the next coming quarters? And if similar to DMart, if we see VMart for that matter, uh, that has been eroding investor wealth for the past 2 years. I mean, broadly since mid FY in mid 2018, if we see, that has consistently been losing, the ground. And in case
You
of
think DMart?
DMart, of course, it has gained a lot, definitely made a lot of
Mm.
money for the investors, and there's no denying in that. But with 80-85% of EBITDA crunch decline, how are the few quarters going to be like, and will they be able to cope with that? How much time are they likely to take to really recover and build wealth?
Right. Right. So see, any grocer, right? Any grocer who's selling food and grocery stuff. In fact, any retailer, uh,
Hmm.
the the key, the three key variables is that what is the revenue throughput per square foot, what is the cost structure, and what is the capital employed to achieve that growth. These
Hmm.
three things is the be all and end all of any retail outlet. Retail is an extremely high fixed cost business, which means even let's say if you have a 10% cut in your revenue, the profitability cut is going to be extremely severe because your fixed cost
Correct.
remains, and hence what happens is if you don't have cash on your balance sheet for a very long, you may survive this probably for a couple of quarters more, right? But if you don't have cash, you're not going to survive beyond that. In the case of DMart, luckily, DMart has raised around 4,000 odd crores in the month of February, just before the pandemic, and hence it remains one of the most well capitalized, retail outlets. So as long as you don't get into a cash burn territory, right? As long as you are not bleeding cash, it is okay. You will survive. If you're looking at FY21, everything is about. It is a complete write-off across all sectors. It's just not retail. Retail is more
Hmm.
affected, yes, and in the event, and the weaker players will make way for the stronger ones. So, for example, DMart has money. Most of the grocers don't have money. Like example, Future
Hmm.
Retail is saddled with debt. He's trying to sell his. Every now and then we keep hearing that he's trying to make a sale to some of the other players uh, with varying degrees of success, right? So limited point I'm trying to make is cash is king at this point. Everybody has to ensure that they conserve as much cash. DMart is the best at it. We
So
do
you
have a
think
sell
that,
recommendation.
hmm,
So these are two different things. So please don't get confused. We have a sell recommendation on it, but that is purely largely a valuation call. It's extremely expensive. Uh, but we think that if it corrects a good
hmm,
20% growth from these levels, it may be a good entry point for the market because it is one of the models which is going to survive.
okay. So, do you mean that maybe the companies such as Future Retail or VMart, who have a lot of cash crunch, and they are facing their SKV management issues and things like that, will they be potential maybe in future be consolidated and merged into some big giant who would acquire these businesses? Maybe, for example, like Reliance. Just throwing an example. Is this a possibility that we are seeing in the sector now?
Absolutely, consolidation is going to be the key theme in the next 2 to 3 years because a lot of
Okay.
people are going to be strapped for cash. See, the thing with COVID, with the pandemic, is that we
Hmm.
don't know how long it lasts. It also depends on the store exposure of various retailers in the big cities. So
Hmm.
if you are in the big cities, if a big chunk of your stores are in big cities, those cities are likely to remain affected for a while, right? And hence, temporary liquidity issues start becoming solvency issues after a point in time, right? If it extends for a year, I'm sure a lot of these retailers are going to be begging for a bailout in many ways. So yes, consolidation is likely. It's not likely to happen. It's only inevitable. It's only when, not if.
So will this not affect the big guys in the business? Because I was just reading your most recent report, and if the consumption, say about 23% of the total consumption comes from top 8 cities for these listed people in the
Right.
retail,
Hmm.
which means one-fourth of their business is affected right now because these top 8 cities are also the most affected in terms of COVID 2019, right? So you're expecting a complete release of lockdown and all, but these 8 cities are going to be the last ones to really come out of this lockdown situation and be starting to lead normal life.
No.
So even the big guys, because their exposure is large in these cities, will take quite an elongated time to really recover their business, right? Because 25% odd is a big exposure.
No, for sure. They're not going to take long. They're going to take as much time as anybody else would. Uh,
Hmm.
right. For example, if you're comparing, see, when you're saying large, what do you mean by large? Do you mean just the size, or do you mean the cash? For example, Amazon is very
Hmm.
small in India. Walmart is very small in India. Uh, Flipkart again very small in India. DMart is extremely big. Uh,
Hmm.
what happens is that as long as you have cash on your balance sheet, you will be able to tide this 1 year out at least. Tide this circumstances that we are in. If you don't have cash, you cannot. Future Retail does not
So
have
probably
that.
they will take about a year to get back to a profit number. Is that what you're?
So DMart still throws profits, whilst the cut is
Are we
severe.
expecting that to continue in the near
Yeah, sure.
quarters? Because
At least for the second
okay.
quarter, yes. Second
Okay.
quarter, yes. For to a lesser extent, because I also understand one thing, that DMart had closed around 50% of its network in April, which is not the case now. Now it is almost open everywhere. It's just that the
Okay.
throughput, the number of footfalls that coming up to the stores are lesser versus earlier. So
Do you think this also has an impact of people's sentiment moving towards the, the smaller shops that are closer to their houses? People being afraid
absolutely,
of going to larger malls and crowded places and rather prefer the local retailers, So how is this
absolutely. So,
likely to impact? The local retailers are going to be much in focus now, it seems, right?
well, absolutely.
Also, these
So
bigger
well,
players, as in the malls and all, they will have their larger costs, which
right.
apparently the local players would not have as much because their shops and all, they have come to them as
Hmm,
from their grandfathers and things like that. How
right.
do you see this situation panning out?
So from a food and grocery point of view, if I limit my scope to this category, yes,
Hmm.
Kirana stores are likely to continue to do well, at least for the next quarter or so. Eventually, everything reverts to the mean. So even if, for example, I'll give an example, Mumbai as has been one of the most affected, right?
Hmm.
But look at incrementally what is the active cases upon confirmed cases. That ratio is only coming down,
Hmm.
right? And which is true for many cities, even Delhi, even Chennai to some extent. So eventually, what will happen is people will start getting used to the pandemic, uh, and eventually life moves back to mean reverts. I'm just saying that mean reversion may not be completely 100% in FY21, right? So, for example, if DMart does 100 rupees of revenue, DMart is likely to
Hmm.
not 100 rupees in FY21 or in fourth quarter or so. It is likely
Hmm.
to take probably a year and a half to stabilize. But it has the money to see him through one and a half.
Okay.
Some of the retailers don't. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Acha, on your mall-based question,
Hmm.
just one thing. This is not. This is more applicable to future retail because future retail has more mall-based stores, around 30,
Hmm.
35 stores. So yes, that will be impacted. That continues to remain, a sore uh, portfolio
Hmm.
of stores. DMart does not have any store in malls. Uh, I personally feel that no grocer should have any business being in malls.
Hmm.
When you're trying to do food and grocery shopping, it's a low ticket item, around 1,000, 1,200 bucks of
Correct.
shopping, but it's extremely high in volume, which means when you are shopping, you end up probably carrying around 5 kgs of stuff. So
Hmm.
you can't expect the consumer to go to a mall and come back with that kind of volume, that kind of weight, and hence it makes absolute sense to remain, if you're a grocer, to remain in residential and neighborhood areas. That's the only way to do retailing here.
Cool. Thanks, Jay. Let's get to know what you have to share more thoughts
Sure,
on this. Thanks.
sure. Should I take you through the
Yeah, yeah.
slide?
Please. Yes, please.
Right. So see, this is just the sizing of the market. The overall market is a 51 trillion rupee market. Around 11% is the organized share. This is across categories: food and grocery, apparel, footwear, all jewelry, everyone. Uh, so you can clearly see that if just 11% is organized, the penetration story remains extremely compelling in the retail sector. But given the high fixed cost business that retail is, uh, the, uh, the market share capturing is likely to be done largely by some of the top few names, and the others will likely kind of cede way or give way to these guys. In short, in food and grocery, uh, barring the top four or five, I don't see many surviving over the course of the next few years. Uh, just to give you a perspective, So, and by the way, food and grocery is the biggest in retail. So look at food and grocery. Out of that 51 trillion rupees, around 34 trillion is just food and grocery, right? So if someone has to really win the retail battle here, they have to be in food and grocery. Right? So hence you see Amazon, Walmart, via Flipkart, and Big Basket and Grofers, along with the offline folks. All of them have been extremely, keen on making a dent in food and grocery. So coming to food and grocery, if you look at this, the first chart, and why I'm telling you that only a few will survive is, if you look at that chart, the first chart, it says that the gross margin is significantly lower versus the operating costs for most of the grocers. Okay, only a few grocers are such where they actually make an EBITDA profit, and they are effectively throwing cash, right? That is the key reason for this is in food and grocery, there are two types of format. One is stock up format, the other is top up. Top up is like your convenience stores, like the Easy Days of the world. And stock up is where you go for your monthly shopping uh, for food and grocery. So the likes of DMart and Reliance and Big Bazaar, right? So in India, if you're doing a convenience store, your gross margins are restricted to 16-17% because you're only selling food and grocery and basic essentials, right? And hence there is no pricing lever. You cannot give significant discounts to the consumer, right? And versus if you compare that to a DMart or the stock up formats, they give significant discounts on MRP versus uh, you know the stock up form versus the top up format like Easy Day. So for example, DMart gives a 20% discount typically on groceries on MRP, or for that matter, Reliance also does the same thing, uh, right? So if I'm going to get something at 20% cheaper overall on an overall portfolio level, obviously I'm going to shop most of my stuff there, right? Because it is a highly commoditized item, and hence I feel that only stock up formats can win here. Top up formats cannot, because they have to keep their margins high because their cost structure is extremely high, which you can see from the first chart. Point number two, the second chart is such where I'm showing the free cash flow profile of customers of retailers. So look at the free cash flow, uh, you know, profile. Virtually, I mean, no one makes money. No one makes free cash. Some of them, like DMart, is negative because it is extremely aggressive in expansion now. Forget FY21 for a moment. Let's park the COVID times temporarily. In normal circumstances, DMart is likely to be aggressive and to expand, uh, along with some of the folks like Reliance and all, right? So hence they will be injecting as much capex as possible, capital expenditure as possible to open stores. Um, and given the fact that they have the money, like recently raised QIP, given the fact that they now have money, they are likely to be able to expand beyond FY22. That is not the case for the rest of the universe. So if you look at if you look at Spars, Spencer's, ABF, ABRL, Metro, almost all of them don't have any cash to expand. So hence the consolidation, if not inorganic, will automatically become organic. So the smaller players will remain at the same size, but the bigger players get bigger, right? So that is one thing. The second point I was trying to make is, whilst all of this is playing out, Amazon and Flipkart, which till date, even today as we speak, have a very small presence in food and grocery. Uh, but their ambitions are extremely aggressive in food and grocery, and that I can show from the fifth table. If you look at the fifth table, these are all the outfits, food and grocery outfits of the global giants in India. So all of them have raised their authorized capital multiple times. So I'll give you an example. Amazon Retail has grown its capital from 355 crores in 19 to 3,500 crores. So it's 10x. Uh, when I say authorized capital, the money has not come yet, but it is likely to come soon. Uh, what this means is, if money comes, what is it going to fight for? It is going to be invested in perhaps supply chain and discounts. So we are likely to see a price war for some time, where most of the grocers, especially the stock up ones, including DMart, will be aggressive in pricing beyond. I'm saying beyond COVID. I'm just for the moment. I'm just keeping COVID So COVID is just hopefully 1 year, just about it. If even if COVID does not go, I think maybe consumers will eventually, kind of get used to living with the virus, and kind of, start venturing out. So, but except COVID, in normal times, what we expect is that, some of these folks are going to give a run for the money for Indian outfits like DMart. Even Reliance, if you look at the recent launch of JioMart has been extremely aggressive,
Hmm.
in their pricing since the 29th of May. So, while having said that, whilst DMart is likely to be aggressive, and hence we could see some margin pressure on DMart, uh, whether it will survive or not, definitely it's going to survive. It's going to be amongst the top 4, 5 who are going to survive. The rest will actually bite the dust because they don't have the cash to survive. So that's why that brings me to the last chart of this, which says only a few may survive. Look at the return profile of companies, except for the top few. Uh, Virtually all of them are negative.
Hmm.
All of them, no one makes a return on the capital employed, and no one has the cash to expand enough to make a return on capital employed, except for a few. So, so hence, I completely buy into that fact that eventually there will be a significant both organic and inorganic consolidation. In the last chart, future retail, whilst it has a positive ROCE, it is likely to dramatically drop, uh, given that they are facing working capital issues, and uh, the debt levels are significantly gone up. So, are, so, so in short, only Reliance Retail and DMart are likely to survive. And if future retail has to survive, it is probably going to be, uh, an acquisition tool for someone, like
Hmm.
perhaps a Reliance or Amazon. That's the only way to survive for future retail. Uh, yeah, so that's on the food and grocery part. So if you have any questions.
For something like future retail, is it not a possibility that maybe they can, have another investor and not really get acquired completely and still survive in the business? Maybe they find a way to reduce their debt. How are all the companies placed on that in terms of debt? Because now, since if they try to reduce their discounts and all, they might, lose a little bit of market share to the other guy who's going to give discounts. If they give a discount, they're losing out on their margins. So
Right.
how
So
are
it's
they going
not
to deal with this?
right. So it's just not discounts. Discounts is one part of it. It also depends on your SKU management. So, for example, DMart has a very tight working capital. Uh,
Hmm.
its working capital, I think, if I'm not wrong, is around 25 27 days. Same thing for big budget for future retail is significantly high. It's north of around 70 80 days right now. This is a problem. So when big chunk of your working capital is stuck and you don't have a cash release, that is going to be, it's kind of like a double whammy. Your working
Hmm.
capital is, uh, you know a problem, plus you have to continue to be extremely aggressive. So that's the thing. Yeah. So
So, but you,
limited point is
sorry.
that, uh, I don't see any investors really pumping in incremental money in future retail. The reason is that it's probably going to be, a lot of people anyway historically have kind of, burnt
Hmm.
their hand, and the corporate governance remains extremely weak. So it's best, sometimes, as an investor, it's best to preserve money than to make money. So
So whoever has
preservation,
the stock should ideally get out of it, is what you're trying to
absolutely,
say.
absolutely, no questions. Even if you're losing
Okay.
money, it's okay. We'll make money somewhere else,
Okay.
hopefully.
Okay. With all these, in Delhi's
Just give me a
being
moment. Just give me a
sure.
second. I'll shift
Yeah, yeah.
the.
Please.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, actually, the laptop was almost going to conk
Yeah,
off.
yeah. So what I was trying to understand is that a lot of these retail outlets would be on lease. And how is it with DMart and Reliance for that matter? Are they leased out more? How are they dealing with the
So DMart,
higher prices that they would have to pay? The cost, basically the fixed
right,
cost would probably be pretty high, right? So will that not hamper even
right,
the financials for the big guys?
right. So see, DMart works on an almost complete ownership model. So
Hmm.
85%, I think 80% plus of the stores are owned. There's no rent.
Okay.
Rent is just 0.3% of sales
Hmm.
overall. Uh,
I can't hear you, Jay.
Retail, hello, hello.
You're not very clearly audible, Jay. Can you switch off your microphone and start again? Probably that works.
Can you hear me now? Hello.
Yes, yes, clear.
Sure, sure. Clear now?
Yes, absolutely. Please go
Is
ahead.
it clear?
Yes, Jay, it's clear.
Yeah. So future retail will have to contend with rental costs. In fact, except DMart, almost all of them have rentals. So all of them have higher fixed costs to deal with. To give you a perspective, a DMart, because it does not have rent, the fixed cost as a percentage of total cost is around 50% odd. Same thing for most of the grocers, is anywhere between 70 to 75%, which means any demand destruction which happens, the bleed on the profitability will be significantly higher for other players versus demand.
Okay. So including
Yeah,
Reliance is what? Okay. So then,
Reliance has rental, but it is significantly lower. So as a percentage of sales, it's because it is primarily in tier 3 and tier 4 where the rentals are lower. So at least on a reported basis, it looks lower from a reported point of view. So yeah.
okay. Jay, in the interest of time, we'll take just the last question. In all of this pandemic, we have seen that the digital formats have started growing exponentially because people are afraid to go out in the crowd. How do you think
Right.
it would affect these businesses, especially for now, since we have understood that, Avenue Supermarts and Reliance are the two companies which would survive in the long run, and the
Hmm.
others are anyways in trouble and may see a
Right.
consolidation. How do you see the digital format disrupting the whole market from here on?
See, I would like investors to not see it as digital or non-digital or offline versus
Hmm.
online. In food and grocery, the average order value is very low. It's 1200
Hmm.
rupees. Gross margins are very low. It's 15%, 17%, right? And hence your ability to make a profit out of that 15% can only happen if your cost structure is very lean, right? Now, if you are going to be only an online guy,
Hmm.
right, your cost structure is going to significantly balloon because your last mile delivery cost is going to kill you, right? So during the pandemic, yes, you are right that online folks will gain, but this is not a sustainable gain.
Hmm.
Uh, for 1 year, yes, they will get that extra advantage, but eventually, I feel that we will have more of an omni setup where you will have an offline channel plus an online outlet where if the consumer wants to shop online, he'll go online. The consumer wants to go offline because he's around that area, that residential place. Uh, Either way, you'll have to kind of remain present on both channels. So if you look at even globally, if I have to give you a precedence, Walmart has lost, at least
Hmm.
the US business has lost 250%, 250 bips of margins over the last 5 years. So it went from
Hmm.
7% EBIT margin to 5% EBIT margin, 7.5 to 5. Uh, that was only and only because online they had to invest in online fulfillment and subsidize the delivery to the customer. Why they had to do this is because Amazon had become extremely aggressive from 2014 to 2019 in doling out delivery options. They were subsidizing, or they were giving free delivery options beyond a point, beyond a certain threshold. So Walmart also had to match it, and hence the profitability. That is an extra cost for Walmart, the delivery, right? And that is why Walmart's margin contracted over the last 5 years. I see the same thing playing out over the next 5 years in India. People argue that India is in a different phase of evolution, and US is a more developed market. I feel that India is far more responsive uh, to the latest trends of shopping today than it was perhaps 20 years later. So the catch up typically in India happens extremely fast versus what it used to be. So I believe that India is aspirational, and eventually people will also want the option of online shopping uh, as quickly as they can. So that's why you see all these money that Amazon and Flipkart are trying to put in India is primarily because of this. It is largely for pricing discount, supply chain, and trying to subsidize the market, subsidize the delivery options in order to gain market share. So this is likely to remain the case. DMart will also follow suit. So it's not that DMart will stay behind. DMart will also try to do that. And hence, the only fear that I have is that DMart today does an EBITDA margin of around 8%. If they have to, or if they are arm twisted into, uh, giving a subsidized delivery option, which today they charge the customer, they charge 3% average order value. So if they have to subsidize that cost, that extra cost will sit in the books of DMart, and DMart will no longer be an 8% EBITDA margin business over the course of the next 10 years. So limited point I'm trying to make is that 4-5 years will remain. All will actually eventually come to a slightly lower profitability profile. But the idea is to put the money on survivors. So if you have to put your money today, who's going to survive? It's probably going to be DMart. The only thing is how much money you can, at what price you have to put it. I feel that we might still be at good 15-20% uh, off, which means if it corrects by 15-20%, it is a good compounding story.
And that would be from a perspective of say 8-10 years.
Long term, yeah. When I say long term, buy and perhaps hopefully not sell ever.
Okay. Thanks, Jay. That was very insightful. I think we should end this session. I hope everybody's got quite an insight, and probably there are two players which we should concentrate on. First, Avenue Supermarts, and then Reliance, and not really get our hands burned further into the other retailers.
Right.
That's very insightful, Jai. Thanks a lot for your time today.
Most welcome. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.